Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Saara, your host to the program How Are You? And today's special guest is my absolute best friend, Hadil. Yay!
Oh, well, you honor me, don't you? Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am,
Yay!
as Sarah introduced me already, Hadil.
Yes, you can introduce yourself, your occupation, for example, and uh, a little bit about you.
Yes, so my name is Hadils. My friends call me Haiti for short. I am currently living in Amsterdam and I work for a Japanese company called Epson as a sales administrator. So
Ooh,
in short, I'm basically the person behind the scene managing the beginning to end cycle of the sales operation.
that's
Um,
interesting.
yeah, yeah, yes and no at the same time. It's a computer-based job, so a lot of analysis and reporting and documentation. So it's not necessarily the most fun creative job.
Oh, really? I mean, it sounds like, I mean, the when people say sales administrator, it kind of sounds like it would be you're doing a lot of sales stuff. And
Yeah, I think that's like a common misunderstanding because in
mm,
reality, a sales administrator is just basically the person that is administrating the sales into the system, And for example,
mm,
imagine that a account manager, so the person that's actually doing the sales, ends up making a really great sales with a big company like, let's say, for example, Toyota, right? And they come back to us and
yeah.
they say, look, we have 1 million euros worth of a sales deal. I am basically the person that takes this deal and starts preparing it in our
Mm,
system logistically. I contact the
okay.
warehouse, ensure everything is well. And if we sell to, for example, Toyota in Japan,
Yeah.
I am the person basically that will be preparing the international documentation for when the product enters the actual country. So it's a lot of behind the scene, in short.
Oh, it's like working backstage.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's the best way to put it, indeed.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear. Very interesting. And I mean, how do you feel at your work? Like, did you ever think you would be in this position?
No, for sure not. I must say that I think my whole life I've not really had a per se passion for something. I think a
Okay.
lot of people know from a young age that, oh, I really want to do something with my hands, or I'm really visual and creative and whatnot. For me, it's never been the case. I have had obviously my hobbies and my interests, but not necessarily have I been able to align them with my future job. So when I was even choosing my university degree, I just wanted to go for something safe, and that's why I ended up studying in Helsinki in Haaga-Helia International Business because I thought, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good base for anything.
Mm.
But no, not necessarily. I don't really have a specific industry or a specific role. I believe that I can adapt and learn any role that I'm given. However, I don't necessarily have a passion for something. That sounds so horrible, but yeah, it is my truth, And Epson would have never imagined that I would be working for a big corporation. When I started, I didn't really. Yeah, when I started mainly because it was a challenge for me. I like the challenge aspect because I'm not ever been the best when it comes to IT stuff
Yeah.
or analyzing Excels or using such advanced software systems. However, now I must say that I feel very proud of myself that I am fully capable of doing such a thing full circle.
Yeah.
So I guess that was for me the why I chose
I
this
mean,
company instead of another one.
even I am a bit shocked because I know you for so long, and when you told me like what you're doing, and I saw you having Excels open, all of that. I'm like, I mean, I do remember when you asked me for help for IT stuff, and I myself am not an IT person, so now that I see you, I'm like, wow, people learn new skills all the time.
No, for sure. And I remember just always being like, Sarah, help me. And I used to always think that you're basically the IT god, so to
I don't
say.
know.
But no, no, it's amazing. It's beautiful because at the end of the day, like you work hard for yourself and you achieve the things that you achieve. And I can stand here and say that it was, due to my own struggles that I have managed to do
Yeah.
such things. But yeah, it's not necessarily every time people ask me about my job, I don't necessarily think that there's a lot to say because it's not the most. Yeah, it's just very. What can I say? Come and look at my reports. I don't know. You know, it's a very individual job. Like I work from home most of the
Yeah.
time. I'm now going once to the office, and I'm just basically working alone. Besides, team meetings where we discuss bigger things, bigger picture things.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's a very individual job. So there's not really, yeah, there's not a lot of interaction happening with other team members per se.
I think for some people that would sound a dream job, and then I know for some people who need constant interactions and um, being in the office or like with the team and a lot of people around them, that would be a bit half and half.
For sure, I think it really depends on what kind of a social animal you are. Are you an
Mm,
introvert? Are you an extrovert? Or are you sort of a mix in between as well?
yeah,
And I think for me in the beginning it was a bit of a struggle because I do like socializing and I do like
yeah,
people. And I remember the beginning I was like, this is horrible. This is boring. Why am I like locked up and behind a screen? But at the same time, I also, yeah, I think also your social being adapts to the type of job that you do, because we can train
yeah,
ourselves, we can train our brains to anything. And yeah,
yeah. That is, I mean, I think everyone should know and understand that even if it sounds horrible at first, you might actually like it or just enjoy it.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Do I know, am I gonna stay stay in this specific industry for a very long time? Well, you don't really know. I think I would have never imagined to work for such a company to begin with.
Mm,
So we'll see like where life takes us. And I think yeah, I live day by day. I really try to be very mindful.
yeah.
So very in the moment and not go into the
Mm.
speculation. Something that I always tell all of my friends is something actually I've learned from your mom. And it's yeah,
My
Sara's mom is
mother.
a very, very wise woman, I must say. I've learned a lot of things from her. But something that I remember she told me when I was younger that it's basically in Islam haram to say what if, to live your life under the what if
Mm.
speculation.
Yes,
So
that's
if you're ever
sounds
in
like my mom.
doubt, yeah, if you're ever in doubt, of course, try to measure the possibilities out there. Like, okay, if I take this route, maybe it's a 50% that I fail, 60% that I, succeed. But don't live your
Mm.
life in what if, what if I fail and
Yeah.
what if everything falls apart and whatnot. So that's something that I actually share with a lot of my friends, despite the
Oh, that's so
religion. I
nice to
always
hear.
say it. Yeah, for sure. And it really puts things into perspective and it helps a lot of people in that very specific moment that are struggling.
Mm. Mom, are you listening?
Shout out, shout
Shout.
out, shout out to mom.
Mom, you should have a TED talk.
For sure, I think she has a lot to share. I
Yes.
think I think a lot could
Mm.
learn a lot from her as well.
Yeah. I actually wanted to ask you, since you have been in Amsterdam, I think for almost a year now.
Yeah.
What was the transition from Finland to Netherlands? Because for so long, I mean, we went to school together in Finland. You were born in Finland, and then suddenly you just moved out. I know for me, it was a bit a shock when it said that you're going to Netherlands. I was like, wait, hold on. Should
Hold
I
on, wait a
also
minute.
so, should I also move to Netherlands? Like, we've been so I mean so always together. I was like, okay, I have to also go. No, but how was it like? What went through your mind? What do you have to say to the listeners if they are thinking to move out from Finland, or people who want to move out to Finland?
Yeah, okay, well, it's a really, really great question, first of all. I sound like a teacher. Good question. Okay. No, it's a great question because I must say that to answer that question, I do have to go a couple of years back.
Mm,
Um, for me, moving from Tampere, which is basically the second largest city in Finland,
yeah.
that's where Saara and I actually grew up together.
Mm,
Moving from Tampere to the capital, Helsinki, was already for me like a very big transition. So many people, you know, so many things, so many places to go to.
Yeah.
And I remember in the beginning it was quite difficult because I'm very also family oriented. So
Yeah.
living there without the family affects you, of course.
Mm.
And fast forward, due to the fact that I studied international business, I had to have that international aspect in my studies.
Yes.
So my university required me to go on exchange abroad outside of Finland or do an internship abroad.
Mm.
So I ended up actually doing my exchange abroad, and I ended up going to South Korea, to the capital, Seoul, actually,
Yes.
with Saara. We were there as well at the same time. We obviously went to different universities and had our
Yes.
separate experiences, however.
But it's so
But
funny that
yeah,
we are always in the same
yeah, some
places.
yeah, somehow life works in wondrous ways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, but for Sara, I think it's always been your dream to go to
Yeah.
Korea. For me, it was more so I actually applied first to Japan,
Mm.
and I ended up eventually not getting in because I had some courses that I wasn't aware were incompleted.
Mm.
So it had affected my grade, which is why I didn't qualify.
Yeah.
Anyways, nonetheless, I ended up going to South Korea and going from Helsinki, a million population capital, to Seoul, 26 million people.
Yeah.
It's a massive, massive change. And I remember I actually genuinely had a culture shock. I was even in panic for the first week or so. I remember just crying and saying, I want to go back home. Like this is I feel so out of place. And I think that really, for the first time in my life, I experienced sort of my bubble burst.
Mm.
I realized that in Finland, in Helsinki, even, I was living in this bubble, in this Finnish government bubble. In Finland, we are so protected. I always tell people that even if you commit like the worst crime out there, in Finland, you're always protected. The government wants to re-enter you to society. They don't believe in, let's say, punishing you.
Mm.
They believe in re-educating you. And yeah, in Finland, everything was always easy and perfect and stuff. And when I went to Korea for the first time, it really shocked me that I was living in a bubble, and I met so many different people, and I learned from so many interesting individuals,
Yeah.
their life stories and what they
Mm.
have gone through and how they've prevailed and what they've achieved, which is very marvelous and beautiful.
Mm.
And yeah, after being in Korea, I think for 4 to 5 months, and coming back to Finland after my exchange was over, I
Yeah.
felt Finland was way too small and it was way too familiar.
Mm.
And yeah, I knew that as soon as I finished my thesis, it was time for me to go somewhere. I didn't necessarily know where I wanted to go, but I ended up coming to Amsterdam because of my partner, which
Mm.
I actually met in South Korea as well. Yeah, he studied. He studied in the Netherlands,
Yeah.
and he was also doing there in the same university his exchange program. Yeah, and we met there and we connected and we had amazing conversations, and yeah, I just grew a lot as individuals, the both of
Mm.
us. And yeah, he was living here in Amsterdam already. He moved to Amsterdam himself as well because he was living in a different city in the Netherlands.
Mm.
And yeah, I ended up moving here with him. For me, it was, I would say, a fairly easy transition because of my Korea exchange.
Yeah.
So because I was already put myself out there, and also because I had a partner here waiting for me. So it wasn't sort of me going from a country that was super familiar to a country that I didn't know anything about.
I think that's I mean, I can imagine because if someone's waiting for you, it's a bit easier since I for me I had the same experience when I came back from South Korea and I was in Finland. I honestly looked at Finland and I was like, I don't know what am I supposed to do here.
Yeah.
It felt a bit like, I mean, from 26 million people to just the 5
Less than a
million,
million.
like
No, the
I mean,
capital is 1
yeah,
million only.
the capital's on 1 million, but like
Yeah.
the whole Finland is just 5 million, and you're
Yeah.
like, something's missing. And I'm a social person, and I need a lot of
Yeah,
things and happenings around. So,
for sure.
but that's also like I'm also thinking to move to Netherlands. I mean, have you talked to me about it so much that I love Netherlands? Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
No.
I do. I must say, yeah, the Dutchies, and I think especially the Dutchies that live in Amsterdam,
Mm.
They are very, very charismatic, very, very sweet, very helpful, and they have a really nice personality. They're very, very
Yeah.
interesting people. And I think
Mm.
because it's Amsterdam, the international capital of Europe,
Mm.
there's so much of everything. It's incredible that chains such as like yeah, let's say like not specifically McDonald's, but the
Mm.
equivalent of McDonald's here in the Netherlands, which is New York pizza and Dunkin' Donuts even and such things. They have
Yeah.
halal options for Muslim people, and it's incredible the inclusivity. I even
Mm.
Sarah actually visited me here in Amsterdam not too long ago,
Yeah.
and we ended up going. Yeah, I showed her around and the food,
Loved
the
it.
yeah, our Albert Heijn, which is basically the government. I don't know if it's the government. Yeah, the main grocery line chain here in
Mm.
in Amsterdam. They have, or in the Netherlands, sorry, they have a full-on section dedicated to halal meat, halal, like breakfast stuff, even halal cheese and such stuff. So it's
Mm.
really, really beautiful in my opinion, and it always makes me so happy. And I always tell people that it's so beautiful, the inclusivity for
Mm.
sure.
And I mean, I love places that are very diverse, that there
Yeah.
are options and you can see and learn and look around. I think, don't quote me, but I think also in Islam it's recommended to go out there and learn and see all
Hmm.
different cultures and people and food and kind of like learn and see like around you and not stay just in like exactly the bubble.
Yeah, yeah, it's very true. And I think actually if we go way back in regards to the Dutch history,
Mm.
they used to have some colonies in Latin America. So
Mm.
I think Curaçao, Suriname, such countries, and you
Mm.
can definitely see a lot of people that had immigrated due to the colonization
Mm.
here to Amsterdam. And when you walk around, you see people of all colors, shapes, religions,
Mm.
interests, styles, sexual orientation. So it's very, you know, there everyone has a place here, and it's really beautiful that everyone can just live in harmony, despite the fact that do you agree with their lifestyle or not? Because at the end of the day,
Mm.
we are our own individuals, and we are accountable for the things that we do.
Mm.
So it's beautiful when people can live in harmony and can appreciate and just respect each other, You don't necessarily need to be like an advocate for, you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, even
I don't know, for potatoes or carrots. Just accept that the potatoes and carrots live and exist.
yes, it's I think it's what I've always learned, like what my parents always told me, is just to respect, even though if
Yeah,
you do not agree their lifestyle or you don't support what they're doing or anything, is it a job or something? It shouldn't be it's not your life or anything. So all you can do is, if they ask like your opinion or interest, you can always answer. But I mean, just to respect everyone. Like,
yeah,
there's no reason to harm or be so hateful.
for sure. And this is my personal opinion, right? But I love the diversity, and I love the inclusivity, and I love seeing people dressed fully in glitter, or people dressed in animal costumes, and that's not for Halloween. That's just genuinely their lifestyle and who they are. I
Mm.
love seeing rare stuff or stuff that I don't necessarily understand. Not that I don't understand
Mm.
glitter, or but
I
I,
mean,
I love just seeing, yeah, different stuff, and it's beautiful. It's
I
beautiful.
mean, say to my sister dressing all glitter, she would definitely go for it. She loves my sister loves glitter so much. Sometimes I'm like, just dip yourself, like go to a glitter bath, like.
For sure. No,
But
it's really
yeah.
beautiful. I love and respect everyone the way they are, and it's just, yeah,
Mm.
life is that way. I don't think we are, yeah, we shouldn't be judging anyone or assuming. I don't know, a lot of people have this thing where they don't necessarily realize that they are judging people because of,
Mm.
yeah, these assumptions and these stereotypes that we have in our brain.
Mm.
If you see a guy dressed fully in black with, I don't know, black eyeliner and, I don't know, he
Black
looks
cloth
down and, yeah,
and
everything,
everything.
yeah, you go immediately into the assumption that, yeah, this person might be emo, or I don't know, like,
or bad or something, or a thief or
yeah,
anything, and which is weird because you can even talk to them and suddenly they're like the nicest person you've ever met. And I remember in South Korea, a lot of people since I mean I'm a hijabi and South Korea doesn't have a lot of hijabis there, and many people they would look to me in a different way. But I always thought that they are just curious. They're not angry or anything. They're just curious because every time I said hi or talked or said something, they were always so excited, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
wow. And I think that's the same like what whoever you see or whoever you meet,
Mm.
you should have like kind of zero assumptions or like thinking, oh, I know what kind of person you are, because
Yeah,
you
and
never
it's
know.
difficult, and it's difficult, because since a young age we've been taught that blue is for a boy
Mm,
and pink is for a girl, right?
mm,
And similarly to this basic ideology, we've been taught from a young age that if we see someone, I don't know, that dresses in black, he's a certain way, or if
mm.
someone dresses, like
Full
in
on
these,
red.
yeah, maybe they're this way or that way, I don't know,
It's so
and
weird. Like,
I
what does color mean? It like color doesn't
no, but
actually.
yeah, the color, yeah, that was just like a silly example. The color
Mm,
has nothing to do with it. But,
mm,
we just have these stereotypes where we assume someone is a certain way because of their appearance, or
mm,
what's on the outside. But I must say that I've been really trying. I think one of my New Year's resolutions also this year has just been to, be able to tackle from my brain immediately, just to take off the assumption. And it's hard because it's wired into your brain that
yes.
to have these assumptions. But
And
yeah,
I mean,
I'm
we are not
trying
saying
not
we are
to.
perfect or anything.
No, of course
No,
not.
we
But that's
both are tackling with our own. I do. I find myself, and I think you also find yourself suddenly having those assumptions or stereotype or feelings of something. So
hmm
it's a tackle and
yeah,
of
but indeed,
life.
as I was saying,
Mm,
like it's as it's since it's so naturally engraved in our brain,
mm,
I think it's so important to just be aware of your thoughts and what you're feeling in the moment.
mm,
And because I am aware that I do have these preconceived assumptions because of society, because of the way we've been brought up, because of whatever,
mm,
I'm really trying to just be more loving and just have more love in your heart and appreciation and acceptance. And whenever I see someone, I genuinely try to look at every single human being, despite their background, despite their appearance, despite their thoughts and opinions, even to
mm.
just, I accept you the way you are, and that's just how it is, you know?
You and my mom should do a TED talk.
Yeah, I think I'm realizing it's starting to sound more like a TED talk than a conversation.
Okay. No
Yeah.
worries. But yeah, we still have a little time left. It's always so nice to talk to you, Hadil. I know we both are very different individuals, and I just love that despite us being so different, we are still have been over 10 years now best friends.
For sure.
And it's
But
crazy.
again,
And sorry, I want to ask you, like, now that you have moved to Netherlands, what is home to you?
yeah, I don't really have a home, I think that's a really, really great question.
Mm,
And I try to really think about it. Even like nationality wise, like
mm,
what's your nationality?
mm,
What is home to you? And I think honestly, home is you can choose where home is, in my opinion. I think today for me, home is Amsterdam,
mm,
but tomorrow it might be Sri Lanka, or it might be, it might be Cuba, who knows? So for me, I think I make the place my home
mm,
by how well I integrate to the place, how well the friends that I make in there. I
mm,
think even when I go on holiday to Spain or something to visit my partner's family, that for me is in that very moment home.
mm.
So
That's
I,
so
I
nice.
don't yeah, I don't necessarily have a yes or no answer to this question, but I think it's a good
No,
answer
I
to.
understand because I mean I'm in Germany right now and I feel very home at my grandma's place and my aunties and uncles' place. It's very home to
Hmm
me, and even
hmm
when I was with you in Amsterdam, I also felt homey,
Yeah,
like I can be here, and
yeah.
definitely when I was in Korea, I was like, this is my home. My mom even said like, and my dad, they were like, you walk around Seoul like you own it and you have been living here for the past 20 years.
Yeah, I keep in mind this is it's massive.
Yes, so it was kind of fun to have the thought like, you know what, like I didn't notice it myself, but then I realized like, you know what, home is where I feel kind of safe or sound for me.
Yeah, For
Yeah.
sure.
But for the few last minutes we have left, I'm trying to keep this as like an half an hour sessions.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
That's good. That's good.
because I know for sure I've already said this in at least 5 episodes in this Ramadan radio, uh, uh, that I can talk very long. So I'm trying to keep it in one place.
Yeah.
But for
But
the
yeah,
yeah, no,
yeah.
sorry, say.
Regarding the question that you just asked
Yeah.
earlier about the home,
Mm,
I just think honestly, like the beautiful thing about life, and especially our generation, because we can travel and we can fly and we can, we can access so many things that maybe our parents' generation couldn't, or maybe a specific few could only travel at the time because of,
mm,
monetary stuff, or yeah, depending on what country you're from, sometimes you're not even allowed to fly to other places, right?
mm,
I have a lot of friends that are from Russia, and unfortunately, only a selective less than 10% can leave Russia in their lifetime. And yeah, since we
oh,
are
really?
youngsters, and yeah, it's a completely other conversation, but
Yeah.
since we're able to fly and we're
Mm,
able to explore and we have the resources and the means and we are
yeah.
becoming more global in every single way possible, I do recommend everyone to get out there, put yourself out there.
Mm,
If it's scary, it's good for you, because when it's scary, when it's unknown, it means it's something that you are yet to experience.
mm,
It's like they say, if you go to the gym and yeah, the weakest muscle is the one that needs the most training.
mm,
So when you go to the gym and you struggle, you're like, oh my god, like, normally I'm so good at doing this, but when I do this specific movement, it's horrible,
mm,
and you feel like you're going, let's say, back in time, like progress wise.
mm,
No, that's the muscle that needs the most training, so train it. And I think also, life wise, get out there, explore things, do stuff that is maybe out of your comfort zone to get to know yourself better also. When you're in a situation where you're these are not maybe the people that you would normally surround yourself with,
mm.
you also change your social talents, even change in a way, and it's a great way to practice just becoming better in every single aspect. And it doesn't
Yes.
necessarily mean that you need to change as a human being. No,
Mm,
it's more so you're just evolving. And I
yeah.
think that's for me what just moving out of countries and making other places home is.
I think that's the most like misunderstood thing. Like when people say like, "Oh, learn new skills and do this and that," they immediately think like, "Oh, I have to change as a person." But
Yeah.
and even I thought like that every time when someone would say me, I was like, "I don't want to change myself. Like now I have to change. Why?" But then I like realized like it's not changing exactly, it's just evolving and knowing yourself better. Maybe I learn a new skill set, but then I don't like it, so I won't do it anymore. But at least I learned it. At least I saw it or went through with it or something. It's
Yeah.
always going through like further in your life. And I mean, of course, if you wanna stay in one place and one stop, you can do that too. It's not.
For sure. But even honestly, I
Mm,
noticed that for me, for example, right?
mm,
Even when I go to a restaurant, I always go for the same dish because it's
true.
such a
Mm,
safe option.
it
And
is.
in a way, yeah, in a way, it's like you don't need to, it's good, it's safe, it's easy. But then at the same time, you're missing out so much. My partner is the complete opposite of me when
Mm,
it comes to, for example, picking food.
mm,
He will always choose the weirdest thing on the menu. And eventually, I will really enjoy that weirdest thing on the menu, So I really like it. And yeah, personally, of course. But I
mm.
think, again, we're all individuals. And just because it works for me doesn't necessarily mean it works for you,
Yes. Yes,
you
that's
know?
that is a very good advice to everyone to know. Actually we were talking about the same thing in the last episode of How Are You. But to conclude and to put all this in summarization, Hadil, how are you?
I'm great. I'm always great. Life is great. I always find something to enjoy in that very moment. I'm great. Yeah.
That's alhamdulillah very nice to hear.
Thank you. Yeah.
But we're now running out of time. Do you have any last advice or your life motto or anything to say?
Yeah, I don't have a life motto because I also think that changes as time
Mm,
goes by. But
Right
I think
now,
for
what is right now?
yeah, for me right now is just be more regular, you know,
Mm,
in every single aspect possible. You know, I always feel like I have my ups and downs, but
mm,
I just want to be more regular, you know. I don't want to have ups and downs. I just want to be always in balance, you know.
mm.
So if anything, my motto for anyone or my word of the day is just balance, you know,
Balance your
balance in
life.
every yeah, balance your life. And thank you, Sarah, so much for having me in this podcast. I think it's so nice, and
Mm.
you are a social butterfly, so it's beautiful to see you do stuff that you're really good at as well, of course.
Yeah, I do love like for me when I was asking like, oh, what show do I want to do? I was like, I just want to interview people. I just want to talk to
Yeah,
people, honestly. So it's really nice, and I really admire and love you, and thank you for being here and as a
of course.
guest. But
My
yeah,
pleasure.
uh,
Wait,
if,
and I have a question for you. How are you doing?
I do. Alhamdulillah, I'm doing very good. I'm doing very great. Still last days in Germany. Then I'm going back to Finland. Uh, life is fun. Life is a bit hectic. I mean, I have a wedding coming in July, so a lot of
Yeah,
planning, a
mashallah.
lot of doing all those things. So I think it's great. I mean, I feel great right now.
That's all that matters.
Okay. But anyways, thank you to all listeners for listening, and I hope you really enjoy Ramadan Radio and this show. How are you? And remember to check all the other shows programs coming in Ramadan Radio. Okay. Uh, I guess that's it. See you next time, and Hadil, I'll see you next time too somewhere.
For sure. Thank you so much and
Okay.
have a amazing day, everyone. Keep
Yes.
shining.
Keep shining. Assalamu alaikum.